What's going on, guys? DeMarco here with another episode of Deadlifts, Dogs, and Dad Jokes. This is actually our 1 year anniversary since launching the podcast. So most of you know that it started off as the Beers and Bells podcast, and we've renamed it to a little bit of a rebranding, but it's still essentially the same thing. It's a few guys hanging out, talking about fitness and whatever the hell else we feel like talking about. So super pumped. We're going to have some fun today, talk about a nice, fun topic, and let's get into it. So what's up, fellas?
Nothing much. I'm excited for this episode to kind of, not get away from the fitness stuff, but at least for a portion of it, kind of talk about things that, we all enjoy that may not, really have nothing to do with fitness. So,
yep. I agree with Sean too. It's a breath of fresh air to just, talk about different topics outside the fitness realm. And then
sure
eventually, towards the middle end of the episode, we will start venturing back towards the fitness stuff. So
absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. Yep. So today you notice I have the Captain America shirt on, and obviously Mr. Sean Bryan has the famous shield tattoo on his shoulder. So, yep. Which is pretty dope. We're basically going to kind of go into a Marvel theme here, and we're going to have some fun. We're basically going to talk about a what if scenario. What would you do if you had the Infinity Gauntlet, all 6 stones, and you could, do the snap? What would you make happen in the universe? So I guess the main thing is I don't have the Infinity Gauntlet, but I do kind of have the next best thing. I do have the Iron Gauntlet. So
it's better. It's way better.
It is pretty good though. I will say the only downside with this is this was like 18 or 19 bucks at Target. Only the Mind Stone lights up. The other ones don't light up. So it's a little, it's okay.
Is that a design flaw, or is it like broken?
No, it doesn't. No, they don't push. So it's just the button here.
Oh, that's interesting. I feel like they should all do it, but that's,
Well, I was hoping you could hit, I thought maybe this was the button and then they would all light up, but that's okay. Because that was when you spend less than 20 bucks. I didn't get the really expensive one,
All right, fine.
Wait, is that the surprise? That's not the surprise, obviously.
That's a surprise, yeah.
Oh, that is a surprise. Okay,
are you surprised?
I'm trying to be.
He is.
A little bit.
There you go. Yeah, he's surprised. Whoa, blown away, bro.
Whoa.
So, but yeah, so let's have some fun. So Sean and I are obviously really passionate about Marvel. We talk about it pretty much every workout, every session, like pretty much all the time. So Sean, what would you do if you had the 6 Infinity Stones and you could snap?
All right, let's see. I'd probably...
You know what, Sean? Why don't you give them a quick Wikipedia version of, for anybody that doesn't know what they are, What are the Infinity Stones? What's the Gauntlet? Basically, what's that whole situation?
Gotcha. All right. So as far as the Infinity Stones go, I'm pretty sure they basically originated after the Big Bang, right? Yeah. All right. So I just needed a confirmation on that. And so there's 6 of them. All right. I'm actually it's going to be a little trivia here for Eric. I'm going to tell you the colors. I want you to see if you can tell me which ones they are, and then we'll go from there. All right. So, do you know which one the green one is?
Is that power?
Time.
Oh, time. So, yes, I don't know my colors. Yeah, I'm not.
No,
I'm not as well versed.
Yeah,
I'm not as well versed
as
you guys. I'm not as well versed as you guys, but I can name all of them at least. Yeah. So I guess to be honest,
go ahead. Go just name them instead. Forget about the colors. So you got time and power.
Time, power, space. Right? Is that right? Space.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Reality.
Yep. I got 2 more.
Did I say time?
Yep.
And am I missing 2? Did I say power? Powers.
Mm-hmm.
Mind. Mind is another one.
Yep.
Yeah. One more. Arguably, this is not the tougher one, but the one that we have seen the least. So I'll say that much.
The reality one, right? Did I say that already?
You did, yeah. This is the orange stone, the one that DeMarco pointed to in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know the last one. I don't know. I once you say it, I'm sure I'll be like, oh yeah, I knew what that was. But
the soul stone.
Soul stone, that's what it was. Yeah, I knew I was missing one. I was like, oh, yeah.
And basically, if you have all those 6, you basically are the strongest being to ever live. Mm-hmm. You can literally do anything because those stones each serve a different purpose, and again, you can bend reality and shift time, and you're just obviously super strong and all that kind of stuff. So, and you can teleport. There's just really nothing you can't do. So basically, if you have it, you're set. You're set for life. So that's kind of the Cliff Notes version, I suppose. DeMarco, were you looking for any more in depth than that?
No. I just wanted to kind of give people a quick, because like most of our clients probably know what they are, because we talked about, particularly a couple years ago when Endgame came out, we were talking about the Avengers, the Marvel movies, and but yeah, basically each stone is an aspect of existence. Essentially, is a part of existence. So absolutely,
elemental crystals. Yeah,
I think the big thing was during the Big Bang, they spread, right. They scattered across the universe, and then obviously this big purple guy decided to bring them all together and use it for not good reasons. So Sean, if you had all 6 stones, and let's say that you either had the Iron Gauntlet or the original Infinity Gauntlet, and you could snap, what would you make happen?
Definitely first off, solve world hunger. I mean,
there we go.
I feel like that's an obvious one.
That's a good one.
Good start.
Yeah, and of course, like, you can get into curing diseases and all that stuff. So I'm just going to kind of cram that into one, I suppose.
Sure.
What else would I do? I'd probably be able to teleport, so I can be at like every NFL game I want to watch. Every sports. Just so I can travel to anywhere I want to be.
Oh, that would be sick. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd probably make superheroes real. Actually, that's what I would do. That way, right?
Pretty cool.
So, and I know I could keep going with this stuff, so I'm just gonna. Those are my 3. I'll say for now.
I like it.
Look it over to one of you guys.
I can even bounce off that too. Like, yeah, I think the world hunger thing is great. I do think the curing of diseases or even reversing aging on people, things like that. I don't know if that would be could that be part of it? I don't know if that. Yeah, I mean, like reversing time, which would reverse aging on somebody. But even just to add to that too, just the teleporting and being able to see people in different areas that, let's say you have family that are way out of state or, way in another area. You could visit them at any time, really. And the sporting thing is huge too. I think being able to just go to any live event, sporting, music, whatever it is, entertainment based stuff, would be awesome. Especially with the pandemic. Now that we're that's going to be part of our discussion today. I think everyone was so cooped inside, and nothing was open, everything was shut down. So with the abilities to be able to do things or do more things, would be just thinking of that. This now is as we're all cooped up or we're cooped up would be awesome. So I think those are the main things. I think Sean hit the main things, but I guess to even add to that, if you guys had to choose between the stones, if you can only have 2 or 3 stones, what would you choose?
I mean, 2 or 3. I'm just gonna say which one I would take.
Okay.
Yeah. And instead of 3, I would take the reality stone over anything.
Why the reality stone?
Just because you can literally make reality whatever you want, essentially. Which I know, kind of like with any stone, you're essentially playing God, let alone having 6, obviously. But I don't know. Yeah, I feel like reality, you can. I may not necessarily do the most with it, but like time, for example, I mean, you could do a lot with that. Power, like you're just really strong, obviously. So that's not limited, but it's kind of is. Where reality, it's like, reality is pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah.
I feel like you can kind of do more with that. So I'm just going to stick with just picking one.
I like the idea of the space one. I think space would be cool to be able to go to different areas, different planets, and be able to research more things to help. We'll learn a lot about other areas that we might not have known about prior, I guess, and then be able to that'll help us research with diseases and curing those kind of things, and also just preventing future things from happening. So future events and I don't know, things like that. So I think space could move us forward if I had that stone. I feel like it can move. We can move forward in the stance of where our current society is at, and be able prevent future things from happening. So I see that being really more of a useful tool. But the other ones obviously have their advantages too.
Yeah, I like that. How about you, DeMarco?
Yeah. So just to go down the nerdy rabbit hole just a little bit more, this is obviously with an assumption that you are powerful enough to use the stones and obviously not die. If you're a human, obviously, like, and if you haven't seen it at this point, I'm sorry, spoiler alert. If you're a human like Tony Stark and you wield the stones, you're immortal, you'll die. They'll kill you. They almost killed Peter Quill, obviously, you remember in Guardians, but he is half celestial, and he was able to wield them and not die. Wield the orange power stone. Is that the power stone? Or excuse me, the purple one.
Purple. Yeah.
Power. Yeah. So that obviously a little caveat, little assumption there that you can wield them and then you won't die, which is obviously indicative of how powerful Thanos really was, because the guy was pretty unstoppable. So I love the direction you guys went with going to sporting events and solving world hunger. I would probably heal the damage to the planet that we have caused, from a bunch of different causes, not just environmental stuff, but obviously that's the main one. But I would heal the damage / increase the natural resources, I guess, like as far as like water and not too much water, but trees and stuff like that. I think I would probably rescue every single dog. I think I would just somehow put every single dog into a loving home. I think that would be my ultimate snap.
I like that.
As much as I would be tempted to go back in time and change something, I would be afraid of the ramifications because of the butterfly effect, and it just reminds you guys ever seen the show Community?
No, I've not seen it.
I know of it.
That's okay.
I know of it too, yeah.
There's a scene in Community where the main character throws up a die, a 6-sided die, and there are 6 people at the table, and whichever, each person's assigned a number. When it lands on a certain number, a certain person has to go get the pizza. And the show basically goes into, it's essentially 6 different timelines. If so-and-so gets the pizza, the entire world goes to hell because it's set the chain of events. It's pretty wild, but it's kind of cool. It's basically like butterfly effect stuff. So as much as I would love to go back in time and maybe prevent an assassination or, stop a, terrorist attack or something, it would be, there's no telling what would happen as a result of that. It's kind of scary. Now, you could go back in time and fix it, but then we're getting into some messy, obviously, scenarios, because then you got to fix what you did, and then obviously do like what Captain did, where he had to go back and return the stones. So
if you're going off of Endgame rules, basically it doesn't alter your future, but you will alter the timelines that you went back and you know what I mean? So, because it was just, if you return to where you were from, everything's fine. But if you go back, like Cat had to do to reset theirs, because when they took the stones, he had to, when he took the stones from there, things changed there. But when you bring them back, they don't, you fix it essentially. So it's different than you're Back to the Future and all that kind of stuff. So I like how they did that little spin. But I guess a good follow-up question to that would be, in the event that you weren't powerful enough to wield them for any more than one snap, like Tony, for example, what would you make that one snap do?
That's a good question.
Ooh.
Yeah. So no longer can you keep using the stones separately, because you can, if you have the glove, you can use the stones separately and go to your sporting events and probably not die and all that kind of stuff. But if you use them all at once and with the snap, you would die. So what would be the thing that you would be willing to die for? You know what I mean?
The dogs.
Snapping and getting rid of all the waist trainers in the world or something like that. Just to bring it back.
As you said, you can only get one thing away.
Back to fitness. Yeah. Well, I mean, whether you're bringing something back or taking something away, we'll go down that route, because as far as the snap goes, that's usually what happens. It's either half of whatever leaves, or I suppose you can kind of do whatever you want with it, but we'll keep it on that route. What would you? Yeah, I don't know. What would your one snap be for?
That's a great question. Yeah, give me 10 seconds here, but yeah, that's a good question. These are good. These are good. This is what we want. This dialogue we're looking for. So
I mean, I think this is an easy, obvious answer and I'll come up with a better one in a little bit. But if like Lauren or Vivi's life were in danger, I would like snap to like save them.
Yeah. I was gonna say like definitely
that would be worth, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say any sort of, you know, anyone close to you, if there's any sort of thing going on with them, whatever it is, you know, being able to reverse that essentially, or get them through that would be. So to me, it's like you think that the Maslow hierarchy of needs, you know, I always think like the top is like your safety needs, and that safety needs to go with like health as well. So being able to help somebody else out could be part of that safety need. So I would say I would, you know, to piggy off to Marco's, I think that, you know, being able to help somebody in need, family, whoever they are, reverse anything going, you know, any danger that they're potentially in.
Yeah. No, I like those answers. You know, I asked it, and then I was fully aware that I didn't have an answer myself just yet. So, because I'm trying to think of different ones, obviously. I mean, oh yeah, are we still doing? I mean, we kind of went off topic a little bit there. Like, we're not necessarily doing like a takeaway thing or a bring back.
Yep.
You know, we'll do that. So I'll just stick with the world hunger thing. I'd be willing to die for that. You know, because that way it sets up everybody.
The world hunger one?
Yeah. Just, I don't know, bring back all the food that was eaten so that we have more food. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, as fitness professionals, I think giving back is number one. So if we give back to others, like you said, the world hunger thing, or anything that's going to help out somebody else, then to me, it's like, you know, it's all about give. You know, we don't want to talk. It's not about us receiving. You know what I mean? So I agree with Sean on that. You know, if it's something I would die for, I think that would be appropriate. It's like something that I know is going to have ramifications to help somebody else out, then I'm all for that. Especially if it's going to help out the masses, it's going to help out the world. So
yeah,
so definitely.
So Lauren and I have, it's really just been me saying this over and over again, but whenever we have a tough day with Vivi, you know, trying to take care of her, you know, we both have careers, and, you know, it's a challenge. It's great. I love it. I regret nothing, but there are tough days, obviously. I always look at Lauren and I say, how in the hell does a single parent do it? Like, I don't understand how a single parent does it. Like, how can you, you know, so my tip of the hat to single parents. I think I would be willing to do the snap for, oh man, I don't even know what to call it, but like unlimited, like food and shelter, I guess, or I could say just sustainable food and shelter for single parent households, because of obviously that's a huge challenge that they face. So
again, I think the general consensus is giving back to those in need and to help the masses, right?
Yeah.
Help the masses move forward.
Now, if I had unlimited snaps, if I could snap and survive,
yep.
One of the things I totally would do is I would take Nano and Nola's consciousnesses. Is that the right word? Is that the plural? And
plural.
I would
no, you're probably
like that movie, Like a Dog's Purpose, when the dog keeps coming back. It's the same dog, but they're reborn in another dog's body. I would totally do that for Nano and Nola. So I would basically like,
that'd be cool.
Whenever their body reaches the end of their lifespan, they're born again in another kitten.
So you're basically the villains. So you're the villains from Get Out.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Nano's probably hearing this going, oh God, only one life with this crazy SOB.
Yeah, you're going to go into this, what's it called, the sunken place or whatever?
Yeah. Seriously.
Messed up, man, but I get it.
And it's like, off of that, even like out of all the powers, which one would you take away? Like, what's the one where you're just like, yeah, I don't, you know, I know they all obviously have their pros, and a lot of them have, you know, similarities, but what would you say if number one, would you say the one to take away?
I think just from an ethical standpoint, the Mind Stone, I think that's a lot of power for one person to have, the ability to influence thoughts and your mind and your to a certain extent.
I agree with that.
Like your autonomy, you can remove someone's autonomy, obviously, and fully control them. So,
well, something tells me to do it with the time one. The thing I worry about with time is overpopulation. Too many people. You know, I don't know if you know what I mean. You know, with right, because the time one's just unlimited, right? Unlimited time, it just doesn't end. So just overpopulation, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking that because if you cure all diseases or solve world hunger, stuff like that, the population is going to go up, and then
butterfly effect.
Yep. So it's funny because
so
like as we discuss this stuff, I'm like, yeah, it all makes sense when you say it, and then as you're thinking about it, you're like, wait, is that going to really help? Exactly what you guys are probably thinking too is now we're sort of coming back and saying, oh, would we do that or would we fix this? So it's exactly what I was thinking too. I was like, overpopulation may not be good, especially even because curing diseases, more people are staying alive longer. So.
But when it comes, like, if it goes back to you being able to wield the stones and not die, like, no matter what, like, as far as the space stone goes, you can go to, like, different planets and, like, inhabit them if they're uninhabited and then, like, move everybody over there. So it's like, I don't know, you can maybe ways around it.
We'll
talk logistics when this gets closer to happening, Yeah. Because it's as of right now, we don't have any stones. So
no stones. Yeah. Not yet.
Not yet.
Should we go? I think that's awesome. I think all this stuff is great. Should we go? Just so we want to make sure we get the year in review and the questions.
Yeah.
Like that.
Let's definitely go year in review. But I definitely want to make one comment about kind of the Marvel movies. So I've been texting Sean about this. So I started the movies over again. I'm doing the marathon and I'm doing the timeline order, which I highly recommend. It's really fun doing it this way. So the order is a little different. You watch Captain Marvel much sooner. Because the movie actually takes place, I believe it's 1995, and super fun throwback because she lands into a blockbuster and it's just amazing. You see all the awesome action movies from the 90s on the shelves at Blockbuster, and it's super nostalgic. But I have to say, having watched these movies over again, I'm realizing how well they've planned and set everything up. Like even more so than I realized it the first time. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is in my top 3. Of the movies that they've done so far. Those were very, very well done. So that setup, storyline and everything was set up really, really well. So just a little note there. Eric, take over, man.
Okay. Yeah. So I was thinking we do the year in review last. So I think we do Q&A right now. And then we'll end with year in review. So maybe take the next 10, 15 minutes, go through that, and then we'll go year in review. So I guess I'm going to open the questions to I'm going to ask you guys the questions, and figuring we didn't have any crazy traffic, so I think we'll get the ball rolling for it. But these are some questions that I just came up with that I think are good. If there was one, I was wondering what you're doing. I was like, you're doing this. I'm like, what's going on?
Well,
I was like, give me the
gauntlet. Yeah.
So if you had talked to your younger self, let's say you have a conversation with your younger self, what is one piece of advice you give to your younger self?
That is a great question.
I love that question. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. I mean, just to get it kind of back on the fitness route, I would tell my younger self to like trust other people, meaning like, because by no means that I think I knew everything when it came to fitness, but I definitely think I knew enough not to reach out if I needed help. And generally speaking, I feel like I picked up things rather easily, nothing complex like kettlebell stuff, because I didn't even know, I never did that stuff until I got to BSC. So I don't mean that, but like, push-ups, bench press, stuff like that. But like to reach out to be able to like better my numbers that I was trying to hit, because I was, of course, really into like a heavier bench press and all that stuff. Like I never saw the value in reaching out to a coach. But it also never came down to like a personal trainer or at the gym I was, going to, it never came down to like them coming up to me and then me refusing help. Like that didn't happen. I would like to think that I would actually like maybe move forward with it, but I never took it upon myself to ask. So I think I also definitely probably couldn't have afforded it back then, but that's fine. I think I would tell my younger self to like just get ahead of it and reach out to basically start my fitness journey, like my actual fitness journey sooner. Yep.
So I think for me, same idea, making connections, outreaching more, and continuing to remind myself it's we're here to help others. And I know and once you get into the habit of saying that, reminding yourself over and over again, we're helping others, and then eventually it should stick, and then you're, like I said, continue to outreach and make those connections. DeMarco's I just realized DeMarco's on mute.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just trying to get Vivi settled down. Yeah, so I think the Sean hit the nail on the head when he said, reach out to another coach and learn. I think I would tell myself, hurry up and fail. Like, hurry up and just make mistakes, because we get so scared of making mistakes and messing up and doing this. And that's what life is. You're basically
was it fail early, fail often, fail forward, right?
Absolutely. Fail forward. That's it, man. That's straight. Yeah. That's it, dude. I mean, we get so caught up in everything being perfect and trying to plan everything. I mean, this podcast is a great example. I have a 4-month-old baby here that's she's on her schedule, and she's gonna cry when she cries, and I've got to do my best. Lauren's getting ready to go to work, and it's a juggling act. Like, nothing's gonna be perfect, so I'm waiting for the perfect time to do it. Just do it.
Just execute. Yeah, I think it's execution
and go and get better. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. I think making connections, like I had said before, outreaching is definitely key. But to that point, to DeMarco's point, yes, you have to get started too, though. You can't just plan it. I've been victim of it too, where I'll plan things out, and it's like you can only plan out so long. Like, yes, have a a little bit of a system, or have some ideas that you want to do, and then just execute. You should be like a 90% person. Just try to check off as much as you can off all those boxes. You might miss a few things along the way, and you can come back to them eventually. So it's not going to all happen at once, and things don't always go according to plan, as we all know, right? So it's like everything you think, even if you have aspirations to do all these things, you're like, oh, I want to go back to school, or oh, I want to make X amount of money, right? So they're not all gonna all appear right away, and you have to continue to again outreach, make the connections, continue to, as DeMarco said, fail, and as Sean says, reaching out and hiring a coach and doing these things you aspire to do, because even if it's just a little bit more than you did before, like that 1% thing, if you get 1% better, you're gonna make an impact.
Absolutely, man.
So that was one of my questions. Another question is, what?
That's a solid question. I like that.
Yeah. I have two more questions. One's going to be about your training menu, your trainable menu. If you could choose 5 exercises, only 5, and you're on an island. You're on an island. You're not even in a gym. You're on an island. What are those 5 exercises, and why?
I'm on an island. I'm not exercising. I'm laying out, dude.
Well, no. But you're trapped there for a month, and you have to. You're putting together a program. You have 5 exercises. What are you choosing?
Cool.
Why?
So it's not like I can have whatever equipment I want to coincide with those exercises.
Well, that's the thing, though. So I'll tell you my answers. Yeah, you could, I guess, build equipment, but you can't bring anything. So you can find equipment there or whatever. But you're going just solo on the island. And I said you can
okay.
I say invent equipment, but you'd have equipment. Essentially, you could build equipment things that you find on the island.
Okay.
I like that. Definitely swings, get-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, and planks.
I like that. What about you, DeMarco?
To not sound too boring, I would say the same thing, but this is for myself.
You were a client, either or.
Okay. Yeah, so I would just to not make it too boring, I would definitely say pistol squat and 1-arm push-up. Progressions just to make it fun, progressions, regressions. Definitely pull-ups. I mean, find a tree branch and hop up there and Tarzan it like Sean and I did last year during the shutdown. And so let's see, that's pistol, 1-arm, pull-up. I'll say bent press, just because I like the bent press and it's fun, and there'd be a lot of cool objects you could do it with. And then for a 5th one, have to be swings. I'd have to grab a heavy rock or something and just grip it and swing it. Whatever. So
it's funny because I think the same way you guys do in a way. I definitely would find a branch for like a chin up or a pull up. I would have to squat some way, whether it's Zercher squat or find an item to be able to squat with.
Yeah.
I would say push ups. You guys didn't say push ups, and I guess you said plank, Sean. Similar.
But,
you said push ups. Yeah. So I'd say push ups. You kick on all the push up. I also thought of too. For equipment, somehow get like a weighted item on you. Like I was saying a weighted vest, but obviously I told you guys no equipment. But I was like in my head, if I wore a weighted vest, I wore onto the island. I didn't really describe it all, but if I wore a weighted vest to the island, then I could already sort of be loading myself when I do something like a squat or a push up or even a chin up or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, what?
Can I change my answer when you're done?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say for myself, I would definitely I would travel to this island with a weighted vest. And they said I would make sure I got my squat in, a push, a pull, some core base, something like a plank. And then you can even do like sprints on the island or whatever too. It's for some cardio. But for a client, again, it'd be all dependent on where they were at. But I would just think about the basics again, same thing, and go with that. What were you gonna say, Sean?
I was gonna so rather than a plank, I'd rather do a hollow hold just to get because arguably in a push up, you're kind of planking in a sense if you create whatnot. So but as far as no equipment goes, because I think I maybe misheard you, I would definitely I would fashion like a kettlebell out of like a coconut or something. So I would do, but instead of swings, I would do snatches because it's still ballistic, and now you get your overhead kind of pressing because it's so now you get your overhead presses in there with and it's a hinge, so it's like a hinge sort of press, ballistics, whatever. So and then the as far as the get up goes, same thing with a coconut, like. At least it's not a full squat, like it's kind of squatty, obviously. It's single leg technically, one leg is more dominant. So that's because to your point, it's like you want to basically hit a little bit of everything, like a hinge, a squat, which is again kind of in the get up, and then overhead stuff with the snatches. The push up, horizontal push. I took out the horizontal row because I'm doing pull ups, so I guess that's fine. And then get my core work in there with hollow hold. So I'd probably have a movement. I'd have a movement checklist with me, and I would make sure like each time I worked out that I hit all the movement checklist, and then I would sort of somehow try to progress things. I think especially with body weight, a lot of body weight based stuff, it's maybe adding repetitions weekly. Maybe week 1 I would just feel things out and just put my feelers on and start with less reps, almost like leave a couple in the tank, and then each week just try to incorporate a little bit more and to get progressive overload. And it's funny because like when you have to get creative and you don't have equipment, you're more apt to like figure things out, because if you're like, there's certain things that you're not again, it's all about those variables. You're not expecting it, you don't know what you're going to find, so you have to get creative with things. So then you start thinking outside the box a little bit more, which is kind of cool. So figure that was a cool question. You're killing it. Right? I had some questions that that would just kind of come to me organically, but you're killing it. So keep going. This third question is if you were or who would you be a superhero to, or who are you a superhero to, and why? Because it's a good theme. Basically, we're talking about superheroes, so or what we were. So what would you guys say is like if you were to be a superhero to someone, who would it be and why? God, again, I just want to think the questions can't get any better. I'm actually very interested in DeMarco's answer because obviously I'm sure we know the answer, but I want to. DeMarco.
Oh man, so you're saying who would I be a superhero to if I could, like a real superhero?
Well, that again, you can be creative with your answer. I was saying like as a fitness professional, because I was trying to make it more fitnessy based.
Okay. Yeah.
Who are you a superhero to? Like not necessarily what actual superhero you are.
He's a superhero to me because when Vivi's screaming, he can make her stop crying because he's an amazing daddy. And a
Aww, look at that.
Yes, there we go. Honestly, that's kind of what I was waiting for. I was hoping she was back there.
That was perfect.
Wow. I would say
drop the mic.
Thank you, Lauren. Those are very, very kind words. I definitely would want to be a hero to Vivi, to my daughter. I want to set an example for her. Leave a legacy for her. Whatever that legacy ends up being, hopefully a good one. I love you 3000.
There you go.
But anyways, so I want her to see me struggle. I want her to see me do hard things and figure it out, and hopefully give back a little bit. People less fortunate. So Sean and I give you guys a little teaser for what we've been kind of planning. Now that things are opening back up, I want to get Nano certified soon as a therapy dog. So I've been talking about it for the last 2 years, and it's been a lot of stuff going on, obviously. But once that's done, what I want to do is reach out to some hospitals, children's like pediatric, I don't know if wards is the right word, but basically places where kids are being treated for various ailments, and have Sean and I suit up as probably, I'm thinking Tony and Steve probably, and show up and basically like go see kids, hang out with them, and hopefully brighten their day a little bit.
And then Eric would show up as Lex Luthor, and we'd have to defeat him.
Eric would be Lex Luthor. Sure. Nice. So we'd have to do Batman, Superman then.
Well, yep. True. Yeah, true. Sean, you could just paint himself.
What would you, I guess to go off the cusp of that, Sean, what would you say? I mean, outside of like family and things like that, is there anyone? I mean, obviously the obvious answer could be your client. You want to be a superior to your clients and stuff like that. But is there any, and I think it's giving back too. So it's being able to give back to others too. So anything else to add to that?
I mean, yeah, I guess I'll kind of say it in two different ways. Obviously, first and foremost, if I were just a general superhero to somebody, would be my fiance. Honestly, to that point, I'd say she's mine. Not to sound corny, but she's just the most mature and like just professional woman I've ever met, and that's why we work well together. So, but then in terms of like fitness stuff, I mean, obviously my clients, no specific client, they're all equal in my eyes, but just be able to kind of be a superhero in the sense that I can provide them with a program, with the tools they have, or be able to provide them with the tools if I'm traveling to see them and that kind of stuff, and just like to make them their own superhero, like their strongest self. So I guess I'll stick with that.
I like it. I will kind of throw in another little piece I just thought about too. I hopefully, and I feel like the three of us are working, especially through this podcast and our coaching, to do this. I would love to, whenever I retire, however that works, if I end up actually retiring or, whatever has me leave the industry, which I don't see it happening for any time soon, by the way, but hopefully I leave the industry better than I found it. So if I hopefully influence at least a couple of coaches, and maybe help them, get started in the industry and kind of move in a good direction for them. I won't say the right direction, because that's not necessarily the same for everyone. But if I can kind of help our industry as a whole move forward.
Exactly. I was waiting for that. I was trying to allude to that. I was trying to like say that without saying it. I was hoping that would just kind of come up. So exactly, I think moving the industry forward and bringing our piece. The Zach Henderson episode that you guys did that I didn't make, he had talked about that, and I really appreciated that. When I listened to it, he was saying how we're not doing it for an Instagram post. We're doing this to move the industry forward, help out others, but also learn from each other too. So, being able to kind of like the people before us and just continue to try to educate, and we're lifelong learners, and we never really stop. It's a continuous long-term process that we're always learning and as DeMarco said, making mistakes, but continuing to move forward. So I think that's exactly where I was leading with that. So,
yeah. And I will say this, not to take over too much, particularly thinking about this podcast in particular. I think, while I do still think the Beers and Bells show was good, I think it was fun and we had a good time. I definitely feel like we've moved the needle in a good direction. I think we're having fun, but we're also, hopefully giving everybody some good, useful, lifestyle, fitness, a little bit of nutrition advice. And I feel like what we're doing now better aligns with our values collectively.
Sure. I agree with that. And I think the whole evolving part, right? It's part of evolving, going from one thing and trying something else out and seeing what sticks. So
it's like the Iron Man suits, man. The Mark I was great
every
for
movie
situation, but the suit evolved because of the increased demands. The suit, you could say they progressively overload. That's not a good way, but you know what I'm saying. There was progressive overload.
I like that.
Because that first suit would not make it in space.
An additional question for entertainment purposes, really. So now we kind of go into our year in review, but I was going to ask you guys with the year in review to start it all off. What would, or it could be current or during the quarantine, what would you say your recommendations are for books and for Netflix shows / series, movies?
Yeah. Take over, Sean.
I definitely, as far as books go, I mean, DeMarco knows I'm a slow reader. He'll tell anybody that. But
Sean, I love you, brother. But if someone puts a gun to my head and says Sean has to read a book in a month or two, I'm gonna say, dude, just pull the trigger because it's gonna take a while.
No, well, no, hold on. I can bang out a book in a week. I just need to make sure I don't eat. I cancel all my sessions and.
So yeah, Sean, name so 3 books. We'll say I keep bringing this number 3 always comes up to me. We'll say 3 books in the last year. We'll say last year that you've read. What would you recommend from the 3 books in the last year?
Changemaker is a good one because the name speaks for itself.
Wait.
Oh, there it is.
Guy. Nice.
It's just because it was a book that our friend John had given to us because as like a gift for this, he was doing an interview thing for to basically better his business, I believe, and as a thank you, he sent us the book. So,
John Berardi, right?
Yeah,
Berardi.
Yep. Changemaker.
Shout out.
Definitely, Your Next 5 Moves was a good one. I definitely split my time between reading it and listening to it on Audible because I retain it better if I listen to it, I guess. But that book definitely gets you thinking about your future and. As the name suggests, your next 5 moves and just how to go best about that instead of only thinking 1 or 2 moves ahead. So that kind of thing. Because that applies to anything. The first 2 books I just mentioned, it's not it's only for fitness professionals. It could be, it doesn't matter what it is. And then as far as a book that I've not, I don't want to say flip through because I don't physically have it, but that I've at least read up on without actually having it with me because it's a book I hear about all the time from you guys. Atomic Habits, because again, it applies to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. The book, you can apply everything you read in the book to whatever you're doing. So, and then you said 3 shows.
Yeah. So say 3 Netflix shows you recommend. You've already watched, or shows that you're currently watching.
Definitely Ozark. That's coming back soon for its final season. And I say that because I think I started that at the beginning of the pandemic. So it's kind of on topic here. Ozark, Breaking Bad. I mean, I started that at the beginning of the pandemic too. I was very far behind, but that's a show I need to go in there. And then I have to say, not necessarily on Netflix. Ozark, Breaking Bad. Oh, The Office. Duh.
Yeah. Say, wait. You didn't mention The Office. I was like, what?
I don't know. Yeah, because it's not on Netflix anymore, so it escaped. Yeah. So Peacock, NBC, whatever that stream service is now. But those are my books and shows.
Love that. Great answers. DeMarco.
Yeah, man. So similarity between both Sean and I, because we both got the book from. Shout out to you, Jack. By the way, thanks for sending us Changemaker, brother. Loved it. It was really good. Definitely going to reread it at some point.
I accidentally said John because of John Berardi. That's my bad.
Yeah.
Jack.
No, it's all good. Yeah. Obviously, the author is John Berardi. It was another that sent it to us. Yeah. So,
got it.
I'll have some fun here. I'll give you a business book, business/productivity book, a fitness book, and then a philosophy book, because those were kind of the 3 main genres that I read over the last year. So the business one, same as Sean, the Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. I've actually read it. I give Sean shit for this. I've read it 3 times, and I think I read it twice before I read it first. But I'm also a really fast reader, and I reread so that I can really dive into the material. So I'm a bit of a fanatic when it comes to stuff like that. So that would be my business/productivity book. I reread Simple and Sinister by Pavel Tsatsouline. And it was the revised. I think it was his version 2.0. And great book. It is a book about kettlebells, but it's also really just a book about strength. So I think every coach, athlete should read it because it goes into, breathing. It goes into, the intra-abdominal pressure, tension, irradiation, and universal strength concepts that will translate over into all the lifts, whether it's a pull-up or a squat or a bench press or a deadlift. So Simple and Sinister, phenomenal. And it's just well written. Pavel's a really, really good author, and he's kind of cheeky. He's kind of funny with the way he writes, so it's entertaining. And then the third one I would have to say Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's just a really cool book. It's long but good. It's him writing to himself. It's kind of his own diary. It was never intended to be published, but it ended up getting published. And so for those, most people know, Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, and he was one of the, I don't know if he was technically a forefather, but he was one of the big proponents for Stoicism, the school of Stoicism. And there's a tremendous amount of wisdom. I find myself reading it now, and I realize that, centuries / potentially even millennia later, the wisdom still applies. I would say sometimes even more so now than even back then. Because actually, funny enough, during his tenure as emperor, there was a plague. So he actually had to navigate that. There were wars, there was plague, there was famine, and basically how to, utilize Stoicism and the mental strength from it to navigate those struggles. So those are, so just to give it from the top, your next 5 moves by Patrick Bet-David. Oh, come on, Marco. So obviously Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and then what was the other one?
Simple Sinister.
Yeah, Sinister
by Pavel Tsatsouline. So really
great answers.
Thank you. Office. So I Sean and Tommy, they kept pestering me, and I finally caved, and I watched The Office. I actually watched it. I watched all of it right before it left Netflix. It left Netflix maybe
Me too. Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks after I finished watching it. So dove into it. Lauren wasn't as into it. She kind of enjoyed some episodes. The cringier, the better. I just love those awkward, weird episodes. I thought they were fun. And I love the development of the characters. And I've never rewatched a show.
Yeah.
I've never wanted to rewatch a show until I watched The Office.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of thinking, oh shit, I could restart this again.
Yep.
So Office was definitely one of them. You cannot talk about 2020 and not mention Tiger King and how much
Tiger King, yeah,
shit show that was, and how it definitely just couldn't. I don't think it could have come at a better time. The shutdown was happening. It was a pandemic. Everybody was just, it was just so much insanity. I think that show, Lauren hated it. Lauren did not like it. But I just loved how it just kept getting crazier and crazier, and just the characters were just so fascinating. It was just so great. And they're just people that you love to hate. Some of the people you just like, oh, I can't stand this freaking guy,
Yeah.
And, so it was really fun. And then Ozark was just so
there you
good.
go. Yeah.
Another show that Lauren also didn't like, but
I remember
really
pre Viviana, obviously, DeMarco texted me like 3 or 4 in the morning. Not that I was awake to read it, but like talking about watching Ozark. Like he would just bang out a whole season. I'm like, that's how good it is.
Yeah, it's funny.
Life changed a lot. Yeah, like life was very different pre Viviana.
I don't want to. I feel like you guys both gave great answers, and I don't want to keep repeating or anything. But basically, I agree with a lot of that. And for me, some additional ones like Netflix, I would say Cobra Kai. Like Cobra Kai, I was obsessed with. Cobra Kai, and I don't know any of the listeners, but if they know about this, but it was from the Karate Kid, started there. If anyone has never watched it before, but yeah, I would say Cobra Kai is like right up there towards the top. And then I watched all The Office too. I started from season 1, worked my way until Netflix got rid of it. It's on Peacock. You said, is it Peacock? Yeah. So then that, and then Ozark I really got into, but I definitely would watch it. I think I watched a couple episodes. I would always watch it later at nights, and I'd find myself falling asleep. I think it was good from what I was watching. Look, there's some good development going on with characters, and it looked like there's good action, but I didn't really, I guess, like really sit down and watch. So I think I got to do that in the future for sure. I've heard really good things. But yeah, I'd say those are the main ones. And I'm trying to think what else. I watched a lot of Shameless. Some of you guys ever watched Shameless? That was on Netflix.
I've been
actually,
I got to get that a little bit.
Yeah, I've actually seen 10 of the seasons. I haven't seen the last season yet.
Yeah, me too. I haven't seen the last one either. Yeah. So and then like
2 or 3 behind.
When I think of the COVID and quarantine and stuff like that, The Last Dance, I mean, with Michael Jordan, I just that was that's on Netflix now, but it was what was it? I think it was on for a couple weeks at a time, right? There's a couple episodes. They play like 2 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
Me and my dad were like literally binging that every week. It was great. I mean, it's the first couple episodes were amazing. My dad is a huge, my dad's a huge, oh yeah. Later, Lauren.
Bye.
My dad's a huge NBA fan. I don't know if he is as much anymore. He's not actually now, but in the 90s he was big into it with the Jordan and stuff like that. The first like couple episodes, he was so glued to that. It was amazing. So yeah, I would say it's the main things. And then with books, you guys had great ones. Atomic Habits for me is definitely up there. Change Makers up there for me. What else? Inside Out Coaching. I don't know if you guys ever read that. So that's a good one too. I'd recommend.
Oh no, who wrote that?
That's I have it right here. It's Joe Ehrmann. I think I'm saying his last name right. Ehrmann. So you say his how you spell his last name. And then Start With Why, Simon Sinek. The first time I read that over quarantine as well. So those are main ones. I mean, there's a couple others thrown in there too, but yeah, I think we got the gist of it.
Yeah, I think what was fun about The Last Dance was, and I promise this is not an intentional slight at you, Sean. I've given Sean a little bit of shit for him being, and he's only a few years younger than me. I just love screwing with him. But I remember, and I'm sure Eric remembers this too. I remember seeing some of those actual NBA Finals games on TV as a kid. Like I was I think it was the '96 Finals when it was the Bulls and the Jazz. You know, you had, obviously. Yes, I was going to say Stallone. Malone and Stockton. Malone, not Stallone and Stockton. Malone and Stockton, obviously, versus Jordan Pippen. And those were some awesome matchups. Those were some really action-packed games. I remember seeing some of those on TV with my dad, so it was cool. Like it was very nostalgic. Brought back some.
So legendary. I remember I think a couple of years ago they played it at a local bar in Boston. They played the 96, 97 game at the championship game, and people were going wild. It's like it's like years ago. People were like getting into the game. I'm like, that goes to show you how legendary it is.
Yeah. Well, and not to actually, this isn't political at all. I wish we could kind of go back to letting them rough each other up a little bit more. We don't need to go back to the 70s. Because the Larry Bird years were pretty nutty. Like those guys were getting fist fights during games. That was actually pretty wild.
So physical. Yeah.
That's a little bit much.
Ron Artest, I would love to see that stuff.
Yeah, Ron Artest, right? Yeah.
Jumping in the hands.
But let these guys let them rough each other up, man. It's a physical sport. It's basketball, it's not golf.
NHL playoffs is the best. NHL playoffs with the Bruins, it's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Right.
What?
No, I was just going to say, it'd be, to DeMarco's point, it'd be cool to see them, they talk about how basketball is soft nowadays, which sort of, there's definitely a lot of people who, they'll try to draw the foul. I get it. But it just looks so theatrical and soccer worse.
That's what I don't like about watching soccer is when people, they try to pull the red card. And it's like, get up and play, dude. You're a grown-ass man earning God knows how much money a year. Like, play the freaking game. Like, come on.
I'm not saying I would play the game any better, but I know that if I got hit, I would, walk it off or what have you. Or my favorite is when they get like brushed and then like 2 or 3 seconds later they fall.
Dude, come on. Yeah.
I was gonna say, guys, so with the year in review to add to that kind of stuff. So, I know the pandemic hit, I think, what was it? Was it beginning of March? I want to say it was March 11th. It was around my birthday was March 11th. I think it was around that time.
Yeah.
So the NBA shut down, like the gym started shutting down. BSC, when did you guys shut down? When was that?
March 16th.
16th, sorry. Yeah.
I remember seeing a video. I think it was Mike posted a video and like you guys just like saying bye, like, Mike's shaking his head, there's a panning to all you guys. I'm like, oh man, this is it.
Yep. It's weird.
It all happened so fast. And then same with our, Lifetime, same thing happened there. It's just everything shut down at it, really fast. It was like, okay, everyone get your stuff and go pretty much. And are you guys good to go a little bit over 12? Want to make sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, so make sure. So I would say in my end of things that when the pandemic hit, I knew that I wanted to keep doing this. Obviously, I wanted to continue to coach. I wanted to continue to help people. I didn't want to get in a rut during the pandemic. I think that, this could kind of surface into ways we can help others, I guess. And maybe people went through rough times in the pandemic. I know it was tough for a lot of people. And I'd even say now that I've been able to have some time to really, put some things together. I'm going to run through with you guys now, but I think when you're, at least for me, when I was out of work for like 8-9 months. I don't know if you guys were. I was coaching some people, but it was not as much. Were you coaching a lot? I know, DeMarco, you were a little bit. Sean, were you?
Yeah. I mean, BSC luckily opened up like I think right after July 4th. So I actually had a lot of my clients come back. I was blessed because I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, I was training a couple people leading up to that. But
so I mean, for my point, anyways, from my point of view is I moved home. I moved to my parents' house, so I moved away from Massachusetts for a while. I was paying rent at my place still in Brighton, but I was not really working because I wasn't at Lifetime. So I was under furlough. So I was like, okay, well, what do I do now? So I decided I could save a little bit of money if I move home. So I moved home for a bit, and then my days became more open. So I went from having like I had a full schedule. Right before the pandemic hit, my schedule was like jacked up. I was literally looking for, trying to find empty hours. And it was literally hour by hour. I had clients and whatever, I had things going on at almost every hour. And then once the pandemic hit, once my schedule started opening up, I'm like, okay, well, I need to find ways to carve times throughout my day. So that way I stay in a routine and I don't lose that. So I think the biggest thing that I took away even from the pandemic is, being able to have structure throughout your day. I kind of alluded to it last episode, just about, having structure for yourself, for your clients and things like that, setting standards. So I started setting standards for myself of like, okay, here's things like non-negotiables that I need to do daily to continue to progress, but also not lose sight of what I'm after, especially career goals and just in general. You have to kind of account for variable change because you just never know. Like things do come up. So you always have to sort of have plan B. You can't just have plan A. So I think, again, for me, I read, which I think I was talking about last time, 7 keys to being a great coach. We talked about that last time.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a section in it. Oh no, my battery's getting low. There's a section that talks about like, setting personal standards, setting standards for your clients, things like that. So then I was like, okay, well, if I have a structure in my day, okay, if I do X, Y, and Z every day or most days, then I can be successful. So it kind of came into, they call it it's 4 by 20. So like, I think his were, make sure that you're exercising, meditating, reading, learning, all that kind of stuff, researching. So I kind of took it in my own hands and made my own version of that. I call it, instead of the 420s, I call it the 520. So I actually have it right here. Basically, 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes of learning. So I think, spending time, whether it's self-improvement, reading a new book or whatever, even just 20 minutes daily, you're already going to get a little bit better than you were. So I think that's step number one, self-care. So self-care for at least 20 minutes. So obviously your daily hygiene's the normal stuff, but I think also too, like reviewing your goals and going through that, even just like 20 minutes a day, that's going to have an impact. 20 minutes, again, these are all at least 20-minute increments, 20 minutes of thoughtfulness. So being able to reach out to someone, say, whether it's a client, friend, family, whatever, reaching out for gratitude. I think that's really important too. So having those things already is huge. Meditation is another one. I think a lot of times with crazy lives, especially during the pandemic, it was easy to get in ruts and days where you just didn't want to do anything. So I think having like time, like I know Matt Ibrahim, shout out to him. He did like daily walks and he'd always say how it like clear his mind and stuff like that. So I totally believe in that stuff too. And meditation doesn't, in my opinion, always have to be like lying down, just like, like going, and like, doing some meditation stuff. I think you can like walk and just like clear your mind and stuff like that too. Any way that clears your mind. It could be like listening to music or whatever it is.
Yep.
What else do I have in there? And then yeah, just roll, stretch, and exercise. I put all as one category. But basically, I have these lists, and what my goal is, do I check off those boxes? And then there's to get more detailed into that. It's like I have a checklist too of daily items. Am I hitting daily items every day too? So I usually have like my top 5 non-negotiables that I need to make sure that I attend to. So it could be whether it's like programming, whether it's paying a bill, whether it's reaching out to somebody, whatever it is, making sure that I hit these bullet points daily. And I always say like strive to be a 90% person. So if I could check off a lot of boxes to DeMarco's point earlier, there might be times where I make mistakes or I don't get to something, but as long as I'm executing, I know that I'm sort of moving forward. So I think those are like the main things. So like having a routine has been key, and having a morning routine too. I think I got myself now to mostly be able to go to bed at a reasonable hour. There's obviously some nights I don't, but I try to be more consistent with that. And then that way I can wake up and start a daily routine of, getting a good breakfast in, getting a morning walk, meditation, look through all the other stuff I sort of just mentioned, just looking through my checklist, making sure I'm getting things done. So I think those are like the keys. And those are the things that when I moved home and I was able to evaluate and sort of build some systems out for myself, then I sort of set a standard, personal standards. So that way I can sort of speak to it to others. And even when I speak to you guys now, I think it's just still in process. I think I'm, again, the making mistakes things, I have the systems, but I know I need to update them and continue to work on them and polish them. So those have been the main things for me. And then, like I said, I think it doesn't go without being said that during the pandemic, because as I had sort of alluded to before, is I didn't want to lose the coaching aspect. So I continued to do Zooms and, we had weekly meetings with Lifetime with all the trainers and stuff like that, but also with some of my clients, I would reach out and do a Zoom workout, make sure that they're, I would give them a program basically and say, hey, like, let's review some things. Let's do some, I had a couple clients that I would see a couple times a week. So I think I was pretty on that kind of stuff. So I tried to have time for myself, but also still have some sort of like work going on, I guess. So it was definitely balanced more than I expected it to be. I was able to have some like work hours and then also have some free hours where I can really do what I want, but also have some hobbies and be able to, like I said, progress and, organize myself and things like that. So what about you guys? Anything that you specifically did?
We definitely, I feel like we each, all four of us, because Tom was there last time, gave like a brief, like year in review type thing.
Yeah.
To be brutally honest, I forget what I said. So if I'm about to repeat myself, well, actually, no, I kind of remember what I said. So I'll kind of go off of what you said a little bit. Definitely just because it kind of made me reflect a little. I definitely said to DeMarco, a month or two into the pandemic that like, I don't read much because I always convinced myself I didn't have the time. So now that I did have more time than I ever had in my entire life, really, I went through like a lot of my certification manuals, like, my kettlebell stuff, my bodyweight stuff, and to brush up on things, but also like utilize my time wisely so that when things went back to normal or closer to being back to normal, it will be a habit that would hopefully stick, and I would no longer tell myself I don't have time for them. I do definitely still have a decent amount of time on my hands compared to, back-to-back sessions of like, 6-7 row sometimes, because that doesn't happen seeing as like I travel to people. So, it's like session, drive, and I'll listen to a podcast, that kind of thing. And then, so like, I do have more time than, but definitely less time than before. And may not be able to sit down and read necessarily, but I'm like a book. But I follow certain pages on Instagram that'll like, teach me things. Like Squat University on Instagram he's great. He, gives a lot of helpful tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. And just really delves into, the sciencey part of like certain movements and whatnot that like we enjoy, but others probably don't, because they don't care about it. So like I try every day, maybe not necessarily 20 minutes worth, but like you said, Eric, hit the checklist. I'll take the dogs for a walk. I'll work on myself. Of course, I'm constantly hydrating, of course, but like when it comes down to like the, betterment of like learning and whatnot, it's either, I'm flipping through those couple Instagram pages I mentioned, or, I'll flag their posts, I'll save them so I can really listen to them later. And then I read articles from the Physiconomics. I know I've talked about that before. His name's Adam. I don't know his last name, but Physiconomics is his, the thing that he does with articles and such. And like I save a bunch of his articles so I can go back and read them. So it's like, I'm always doing something a little bit each day. And that was something that stuck for me because I didn't really do much of that before because I told myself I was too busy, and I was definitely a lot busier. But then I was able to form the habits during the quarantine and then keep keep all of them, but some days may get away from me. Yeah, but keep all of them, generally speaking, in rotation. So that was, the silver lining of the pandemic for me, or at least one of them. It was making me more regimented now.
Nice. Yeah, sorry, my battery's like going. I'm like trying to figure out why my charger's not charging. Sorry.
Sorry, we'll wrap up on whatever DeMarco says. So.
Oh, actually, I got it. It was like not working when I was. It's funny that just happened. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with all that. I think. Wait, Mark, what were you gonna add?
Yeah, so you guys both brought up really great points, and I agree with all of it. I think the two main things that I did. So the big thing was what Sean mentioned about reading and having time. So I tried. So of course it was stressful. There was a lot going on. It wasn't easy, and it was harder. It was a lot harder for a lot of other people than it was for me. We were very fortunate in so many ways. That I can't even begin to name. But I tried to reframe my thinking into viewing the time as a gift. And initially I kind of treated it almost like a vacation. When the gym shut down, I was like, I'll hang out at home, work out a little bit, drink beer, watch some Ozark and hang out. And then when we kind of realized it was going to take a little longer than a couple of weeks, and unfortunately it wasn't going to be over by Easter. It lasted a little bit longer than we expected. I thought about, the time as a gift, but then I really started to think about a couple of things. First off, a question that's raised often on the Minimalists podcast, who I think you guys would love, by the way, a couple of really cool dudes that are into minimalism. So just hacking away at the inessential in life, in more ways than one. And their big question they ask always is, do my short-term actions align with my long-term values? And that's a question I really ask myself over, like honestly, daily, mentally. I didn't say it out loud like a weirdo, but I would ask myself that daily. And I started, thinking about it. And in certain ways, yes, I was training. I was working with Sean and I were working out outside. I was reading a little bit, but there was also just kind of a lot of dead time. Where I was, I won't lie, man, I watched a lot of movies and shows. I was constantly texting Sean, like, oh, I just watched this movie for the first time. I just watched this one, and we had fun with it. But then the next piece came, we started, trying to have a baby. We succeeded, as you guys can see here.
That's not the one, but
she's mine. Yeah, this one's mine. So once Lauren told me she was pregnant, that was the flip of the switch of, oh shit, dude, you're going to be a dad. You better get it together. So there's like the saying of mothers become a mother when they first get pregnant. Fathers become a father when they when they see their child for the first time. Well, that's utter BS. Because as soon as I found out Lauren was pregnant, I was, it was elation, but also fear. So I started thinking, all right, dude, you got to get it together. You got to, cut back on the alcohol intake. You got to eat your veggies, save money a little bit better. And it's time to tighten up. So I started really thinking about, again, trying to work towards becoming that ideal, strong, healthy, good father, to Vivi. And so that's still a driving force for me now. It doesn't end, right? It's an ongoing process, and there's no manual for this, by the way. So strap in, fellas. But so those were the main things. So I guess to take it at the next level, I wanted to continue training my body, get as strong as possible, feel as good as I can, keep my joints moving well, and feed my mind. Learn as much as I can about fitness, about self-improvement, productivity, becoming the best coach I can. Continuing to become better at my craft, but also taking the journey inward and really not to take this down too much of a dark road, but battling my own personal demons and kind of coming to the terms of them and coming out the other side. And anyways, we can go into that. That's another episode of time. More in depth, but those are kind of, my journey was very, very deep, and it was inward. It was very much a journey inward.
Yeah, I mean, I got cut off a little bit with my phone, but yeah, basically I agree. Like what I was sort of kind of alluding to too, like establishing the routine in the morning, that was key for me. And like I said, moving home and sort of reevaluating where I was at, and just like making small adjustments to things, and kind of honing, like as Marco had said, and Sean probably said it too, just honing in on my craft and trying to improve in any facet. So kind of to allude to those lists that I have daily, on the thoughtfulness part, not the thoughtfulness part, on like the meditation slash, miscellaneous of the day kind of idea. I usually try to listen to a podcast or like I had said before, read, to continue to educate and hone in on the craft, continue to improve. So I'd say those are the main things. And then that sort of has transitioned from the pandemic to now, as we're hopefully on the other side of the pandemic, or getting much, much closer. As things open up now, I think I'm able to, and I don't know about you guys, I think a lot of the things that I was doing during quarantine, I'm still doing now. You know what I mean? It's not like it was like just that at the moment I was doing like, oh, because we're shut down and things are closed. I'm still trying to keep those daily routines, even though now I have a full book of business and I'm working a lot more. I still try to make time when I can for all these other things that I have planned, obviously all with us and side projects I want to work on and things like that. I'm still making time for those things. And I think that's definitely important.
I think a main piece also is just be resilient. Everyone's struggle was unique to them as far as what the pandemic brought, whether for a lot of people, there was financial insecurity. I'm very fortunate that wasn't an issue for us, for many reasons, but I will give a special mention to kind of Sean and I's unique situation. Sean and I went back, guns a-blazing, the gym that we worked at, as soon as they reopened, we were back. I mean, Sean and I were back on day one. I think it was July 7th or whatever, and ready to rock and roll. Like we were masking up, we were training folks and taking on.
All right.
Yeah. I had gotten back to what my pre-pandemic session count was actually, or I was just about to hit it. So I was actually about to set an all-time high. And, but again, it was really just Sean and I. There were no other coaches there, so there was nobody else there. But we got really busy, and then the gym shut down again. And this was the company. There was a big issue. So that gym shut down when was that, Sean? That was was it August?
September or October. I forget.
October, yeah. So 2 or 3 months in, we're busy. We're jiving, we're grooving. And then the rug got ripped out from under us again. So then we had to figure out, shit or get off the pot. Like, are we going to move to another club? Or we're going to do this? And then obviously after that was another shutdown. So that's one wave where there was a unique, additional challenge kind of for us. So that was definitely.
Yeah. Sean, anything to add to that?
No, I mean, just to, kind of wrap that up, I suppose. It's the pandemic in more ways than one teaches you how to deal with things you probably never thought you had to deal with. So one could argue that hopefully nothing as bad as this ever happens again. But if something even half as bad did, and you were able to make it out of the first one, it's like, you're stronger than you think, and you're smarter and more adaptable than you think now because of that. Like, you got to look at the positive of it, which I'm not saying it's all positives, because obviously no, but
go ahead, Sean. Right, go ahead.
I'll just take it as it is,
Yeah. And I will say this, if you're in a relationship and let's say you and your significant other were either married or dating, whatever, before the pandemic started, if you're still together now, you guys are probably solid. Yeah. Like I have to say, because it's, I love Lauren, and I didn't intentionally wait for her to be gone for this, by the way. This just happened. You guys are like, sure. But no, one of the challenges that I'm sure everybody experienced was the work from home life was different, right? So when I was wanting to film these podcasts, I had to be more selective with my times because, and I had to be out of the apartment whenever Lauren's a psychiatrist. So whenever she would be, treating her patients like therapy patients, that's privileged information. That's HIPAA. So I have to be like gone, I have to be around, and she's had the headphones in, and there's additional, security measures and stuff. So that was really hard and it was stressful. That being said, we worked through it. We navigated those challenges together, and we've got a beautiful baby girl here, and I wouldn't change anything. But Sean, obviously, you guys bought a freaking house.
Yeah, you bought a house.
And
That's
you
awesome.
got engaged. So you guys obviously have come out of this stronger. I'm sure it was challenging for you two as well.
Yep.
Eric, I know you were, I know you were used to getting on the apps and everything. Was it not as busy on the apps? In the shutdown?
Yeah, honestly, like I said, I was home for so many months, so I wasn't even I was really just working on myself, to be honest with you. That's probably the best thing to come out of that too, is not having to be so forced into that kind of stuff. And I think it's good to get out of that realm, actually. So it's a breath of fresh air that things are opening up. Definitely excited for all that. So I was gonna say, it kind of alludes to the next thing too. I was gonna say, like, what's your guys' thoughts on the coming months? Do you think it's going to be everything? For instance, everything's supposed to open. I think it's next weekend. I think it's this Saturday. Is that going to be? You think that's going to be like chaotic, or you think it's going to be a slow opening?
I mean, technically, if you're vaccinated, like, obviously it's fine, but like, that's the thing. It's like, if you're not vaccinated for whatever reason, don't be stupid about, like, like, oh, well, all these people have their masks off, but that means I can do what they're doing. Like, I mean, I suppose you could, but it's like you're just putting yourself at risk. So, just don't be surprised if you catch it, kind of thing. I mean, we could all catch it, yes, but obviously we're going to be fine because we are fully vaccinated. So, it's it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting couple months ahead.
Yeah. I would say I think it's going to be interesting here, especially up north. We're obviously in Massachusetts, and we took this very seriously. And we've done a very. I mean, I got to give hats off. Not to get political. I think overall, Baker has done a pretty good job, considering that this was a very, very big challenge. It's all a matter of doing the best you can with what you have, and different states took different approaches. And I don't think there's any one good solution, obviously, but I would say don't watch the news, because honestly, I think there's a challenge between wanting to be an informed citizen and kind of know what's going on. But I hate it even when things are getting in many ways. I mean, it's all relative, right? But you're still going to hear, the negative news on there. Like, even though businesses are opening back up and, we're kind of going back to our normal living, you're still going to see, negative stuff on there, because the media, that's how they make their money, right? It's fear, and angering and scaring people. So I would say, especially for us up north, enjoy the summer, go support those businesses, go spend money, go have a good time, and be responsible. If you're vaccinated, get with your cats, or not your cats, but your people. I mean, unless you're a cat person, that's fine too. But don't get sucked into try to get out of that negativity tornado that we were in for the last year, because it was, we had the pandemic, we had, there was the George Floyd, killing that most of us saw the video. There were a bunch of incidents. There was a lot of social unrest, and there was economic, obviously, financial instability. This last year was really hard. Like, go out and live your fucking life, because we don't know how much time we have left. And people have had a lot of people haven't even seen their parents in the last. Their grandparents are meeting their grandkids for the first time in like a year. And that's sad. That's really sad. So I think enjoy your spring and summer, live your life, and just remember what matters. And it's it's the people. It's not things, people. So
I think that's a solid closer right there.
I'm with that. That was good.
Sweet deal. All right, well, fellas, you got anything else? That's it.
I got to go to the bathroom. That's what I got.
Good. I do too. Pro tip for you guys: if you can hold the baby with one arm, the bathroom's a little bit easier. So I'm just saying, whatever you got to do. If you got a baby that's got to be held, you got to do what you got to do. So, on that note, want to thank all of you so much for watching, especially those of you that are still here. I know we kind of rambled a little bit there. Had a lot of fun. We're super pumped about future content. We're going to get into a lot more fitness stuff. We're going to really, Eric and Sean have some really, really cool ideas, do some fun Q&A. So if there's anything you want us to talk more about, feel free to comment below. If you have a better answer for what you would do with the gauntlet, what you would utilize the power of the Infinity Stones for, comment below. I would love to hear what you have to say. In fact, Let's go ahead and have some fun and see if we can increase engagement. I'll say the 3 best answers will win a 1-hour strategy call with one of us. We can talk about your fitness. We can talk about health. We can talk about, increasing mobility, improving mobility, whatever you want to talk about, or just shoot the shit and talk about Marvel or whatever. So, but yeah, let us know what you want. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.